So just because I can't get enough of naming inorganic compounds, let's go ahead and do some more practice, shall we? 2 of these are taken directly from your homework, number 38 and number 41 for chapter 4, and I just made up two other ones. So this is just going to be some good practice. So naming of inorganic compounds, yay! So the first one is directly from your homework, and it says, how about we name copper 1 sulfide? So we have to, in our heads, say, copper 1, what does that mean? That means a Cu plus, right? Because it tells me that it has a +1. And what does sulfide mean? Well, it's not sulfate, because it's different, right? So it ends in "ide." So if it ends in "ide," what does that mean? It means it's by itself. So it's sulfur by itself. What charge does sulfur have by itself? In order to be on this coveted right column, right group, the group 8A, sulfur would have to do what? Gain 1, 2. It would have to gain 2 electrons. So when you gain 2 electrons, you are a 2-. Right? So then we come down to the problem of how many of each do we need in order to balance out and have a completely neutral compound? Well, the smallest number that a 1 and a 2 have in common is a 2, in fact, right? So I just need to have enough of these to balance out that 2-. So I'm going to have Cu2S, copper sulfide. So again, notice I don't put a parentheses around the Cu because there's only one of them. So you don't need a parentheses around it. So this is copper 1 sulfide. More practice. How about for number 41? And this is a big, these formulas may be the same for you, but remember how some questions we have are different? Like it may have a different formula, slightly different formula. Make sure that the question actually is the same for each. Maybe they gave you copper 2 sulfide. That would be a different compound, right? So these are just good practice. How about the formula of aluminum oxide? So aluminum is one that we have to memorize. That's Al3+. And oxygen, it's oxide, so it's oxygen by itself, right? Now what charge would oxygen have? Oxygen would like to be in this coveted group 8A, so oxygen would have to gain 1, 2, oxygen would gain 2 electrons, so it would be a 2-. Now, aluminum 3+ is one that we have to memorize, and it's going to be one of our knowns, but let's see if we can actually find a good reason why it is Al3+. Well, Al would like to also be in this column, right, group 8A, but we have 2 ways to go about it. Aluminum could either gain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Aluminum could either gain 5 electrons and be isoelectronic with argon, or it could 1, 2, 3 lose 3 electrons and be isoelectronic with neon. So which is preferable? Which one's easier to do? Losing 3 electrons or gaining 5? So that's why it loses 3 electrons. It's an Al3+. So we didn't even really need to memorize aluminum because it makes sense. So the smallest thing, the smallest least common multiple that 3 and a 2 have in common is in fact a 6, right? So we're going to have to turn Al's 3+ into a 6 positive total. So we're going to need 2 Al's, and we're going to need to have 3 of these oxygens to bring a -6 to the party. So it's O3. That's aluminum oxide. Okay. So I just made these 2 up, but these are very par for the course of what I could give you on an exam. NH4, we're going to have to, that's one of the ones that we have to memorize. That's a polyatomic cation. And we memorize that from the list. Oh, sorry. It's NH4+. We have to memorize that, and that is ammonium. Now, when you're spelling this out, make sure you put ammonium, right, because that's the name of it. So it's the ammonium ion. And then BR is in the 7th column, group 7A. So BR would have to gain 1 electron in order to be isoelectronic with krypton and have a perfect octet. So BR would gain 1 electron. So BR would have a charge of -1, right? I'm just breaking down what this is, NH4 plus and Br minus. We're just doing a lot of practice, right? So this is bromide. So it's ammonium, and Br minus is bromide. So the name of it is ammonium bromide. Nice. So this is one that I could give you on exam. I'd give you that compound and I'd say, what's its name? Down here, we have, how about, why don't you tell me the name of CuO? So copper, this is copper, and it is not in group 1, it's not in group 2, it's not in group 7 or group 6, and it's not one that we had to memorize. Copper's the wishy-washy one. It's in the middle. It's a transition metal. So we're going to have to find out its charge. How do I do that? Well, what about oxygen? I know oxygen. Oxygen's going to be 2-. So copper, in order to balance it out, what must copper's charge be? Copper must be a charge 2 plus, right? We determine this indirectly, right? If O is 2- and there's only 1 of each, this has to be a 2+. So it must be copper 2+ in order for them to balance out. So how would I name this? Copper parentheses Roman numeral 2. I need that there because you use the parentheses with the Roman numerals for cations that have varying or changing electron configurations, right? So you use this for transition metals and ones that are not known. So it's copper 2, and the name of this is Oxide. Remember, it has to end in IDE because it's by itself. Why don't we do a... No, okay, I can do more of these if you guys ask for it. We can do more practice. So just let me know. I hope this helps. This was practice for even more naming of inorganic compounds, which is, it's what I love to do. Fun.